Okay.
This is a sample of granite from the Great Canyon Mountain Range. And 10,000 then after that, 10,000 years ago, life on planet Earth faded down the new era of the Ice Age, which covers half of North America in this area. This is a model of the bridge from the 1980 cars, and that's the height of the ice, to, which is about that tall.
Wow. Okay.
And this is some limestone over here, which is over there, which is not good for, not good for farming. And sandstone over here, which is good for farming. And this is also granite, which is from the Precambrian mountain range, and used to make the boulder ways of the Lost Ark.
Okay.
And
That's cool.
over here is some animals that came in, migrated into this region once the ice melted, like the caterpillars, spiders, and bumblebee bugs, the bumblebee, and the butterfly, and the monarch butterfly, and the frogs, and the deer, and the wrasse, and the blue heron, and the wally, and the red speckled hawk, and the American kestrel. And then birds that come in the area, and the American black bear, and the American the red hostel, and the American robin, and the great hawk owl, the snakes, and mice, and other owls what they eat, the barred owl, the northern hawked owl, and fish, and the beaver, which was a bird which indigenous Europeans and European settlers traded fur with between in 1535 all the way to 1810.
Mm-hmm.
That's when fur fell old fashioned in Europe, and also the crow moved into this region, and the gray pheasant, and the grouse, and the fisher, and lizards, and the hooded mallinger, and the northern flicker, and the bidden reed, and the North American river otter also were in this region.
McGanger.
The hooded merganger. And over here are some fish, include the walleye, the smallmouth bass, the muskie, which the oldest one with the biggest muskie was caught in 1962 and had like 1953, 6 and had weighed weighed about 400 pounds.
Wow.
And that's in yellow perch, and the walleye, and the largemouth bass, and the freshwater drum.
Hmm.
And then here's a map of some some turtles that are in the region, and lizards and salamanders, and more frogs, and a map of fantastic fish, including the rainbow trout and where to find them. And butterflies like the monarch, and the Luna moth, and the swallowtail, and some bees like the leafcutter bee, and the sulphur mining bee, the longhorn bee. And here's a picture of Leon Pesser, who caught 2 trout. One of them was 13 pounds, and the other one was 8 pounds, and they were caught in Charlton Lake.
Right.
And that's some ink people, some old time people catching fish in the 1920s. They were anglers. Caught one fish, the St. Lawrence River, with industry harvesting. It was a massive effort. And then later, the first people came into this region. They built longhouses with 6 families. They were like the Mohawks, the Oneida, the Iroquois, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe. They have 3 sisters with beans, squash, and corn, and their beds were alongside each other. Well, and they had ladders to get up to them, and they kept their food and medicine was kept at the back of the room. And they had weapons like the bow stone, the bud, the axe head, the spears and projectile points, and from 300 CE to 900 CE, and the projectile point from 600 to 2500 BCE. Their creation story tells them that they were placed onto an island in North America by their creator and given the responsibility to care for everything in their natural family, for all their relations, including Mother Earth, Father Sky, Brother Sun, Grandmother Moon, and the standing peoples, the trees and rocks.
Wow.
Over here is they were also invented toboggan, and this is what they cooked on with a piece of wood over the fire and rocks, and they would use to cook the thing with these sticks. Probably to keep the fire spirits from getting out of control. They have like a complex mythology about, and they invented the toboggan and the canoe and the snowshoes, and that's a model of a birch-bark canoe from 1930.
Okay.
Made during the Depression. And this is the early woodland pot, which was made the first form of pottery in indigenous culture, which was made in 900, 1000 BCE and to around 300 BCE. It was found by Jim McCree on the Bateau Channel near the north shore of Howe Island, nearby Pitts Ferry, where Nan Ruth and Roger were nearby.
Okay.
And that's the first. These are some Haudenosaunee pottery shards from 900 CE to 1600 CE. And this is a map of the Thousand Islands region and the other parts of North America where the indigenous people lived.
Where's Gananoque on that map, do you know?
This one?
Yeah.
Something right there. Like up here.
Maybe right there.
Maybe right there. So, and that's just a picture of a glacier and some islands.
Okay.
And then here's the crow, which is a stuffed crow, which might be a sacred animal to one of the tribes. It's a puppet where you can put your hand in and like pretend to go caw, caw, caw.
So interactive for the little kids, right?
Yes.
Are you?
And this is the Thanksgiving address by the indigenous people, which they say that life is a circle and it's never ending and keeps repeating. And this is sage, which is thing for smudging, where they can hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And it's was a popular thing in the West of with the West indigenous people, and the North indigenous the South indigenous people like cedar, which you might not want to diff this one. You might have an allergic reaction to it because this one. And tobacco, which is some nowadays it still is put in cigarettes, and it's popular in the East to use to light fires in the spring.
Hmm?
That was tobacco?
Yeah.
Okay.
And wheatgrass, which is a quite common around here, up north, and their food is the venison and duck and beans, squash, and corn, which are down here, and that's sage, and fish, and it's what sage looks like in its natural, in its form before it's chopped up and used for smudging.
Which one is the sage?
Right there, those
Okay,
little like
that's what it
wave,
looks like?
yeah, those little wave things.
Okay.
And the sweet grass is the braided one.
Uh,
Oh, okay.
but how do you know that?
Indigenous studies in university.
Oh,
Hmm.
I always thought it was just a piece of rope.
No, they it's a thick grass, so they can braid it and they can
Oh.
weave it into baskets and mats and everything,
And these
you
are
hang
some.
it from.
Are these drumsticks used for summoning the rain spirits?
Don't know that one.
Well,
Can't tell you.
the rain people believe that the indigenous people believe that that the rain is controlled by spirits in the sky, and that when the spirits get angry, that's when thunderstorms happen.
Okay.
And then
It depends on how you practice too, but the sweet
Yeah.
grass can also be like healing and protective.
and these are some other herbs and spices in this basket, and that's a healer with the bird on his head,
Right.
which was like kind of like doctors in modern society, where they practice medicine. And these are some of the languages which, because of the residential thing in the 19th century, most people nowadays are spoken by, most of the languages nowadays are spoken by very few people. So a lot is being done now to teach their children these endangered languages, to try and bring them back, because there are 53 languages in this territory alone, and most of them, a lot of them are English. So if they teach their children these endangered languages, they won't disappear entirely.
That's true.
And also over here, these are some early tool settlers used when they came to North America in the and they were used to turn butter and got socks and take boots off, which is the boot jack, and some
Now, who used these? The pioneer people?
the pioneer people.
Okay, not the Indians. Okay.
And your great grandparents.
Europeans. Yep. Okay.
And early 21st century families in 1920s and 30s and 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Early 21st century. And that Dr. J, the guy responsible for
Okay.
the beaver fur trade and naming the St. Lawrence River,
Mhm.
when he came to the St. Lawrence River in 1535, and a man died there named St. Lawrence, and well, and during, while there, the, while the Europeans were first settling the area, they learned how to ride canoes, which, and became voyagers, which the canoes could be carried on your head or side by side with one another. And then a few, and then they would build log cabins which could be made out of wood and look like this. There were usually like 4 kids and a grandmother and an uncle and aunt and 2 parents in the families. And one of them was the Land Grant family, was a knight, and was the family of a Knight Empire loyalist named Joel Stone, who came from Wheatfield, Connecticut to escape prosecution during the American Revolution, along with other loyalists who didn't like the new United States and wanted to go to British occupied territory for more freedom. And so when Joel Stone got a land grant to build a settlement, which later formed the nucleus of the town Gananoque. So, and then more people started to come, and the town started to get bigger, and so the town of Gananoque was at peace up until, from 1803 up until September 26, 1812, when the Americans came over from Sackett's Harbor, New York, and attacked the town with the intention of burning the King's Storehouse. And so while during the battle, 2 of the American riflemen were killed, which out of 100, and they drove the British over to Gananoque, and then most of them died, and 2 of them were sick in hospital, and there were only 50 militiamen, so after, and then 2 of them were sick in hospital and taken prisoner to America, and also along with a dragoon who the British and the Americans intercepted on the way to Kingston to give notice of the attack. And they burned Joel Stone's storehouse and took some of his peaceable possessions and trunks down to the shore with the intention of carrying them off of them. Most of them were burned, which was some straw bed ticks, half an ox, and an old blanket. And well, they were at Joel Stone's house, they couldn't find him, so his wife Abigail Stone was the only person in it. So the American soldiers heard him moving up stairs and fired his gun, and like a couple of the bullets missed her, but one wounded her in the hip, making a severe but not dangerous wound. The American surgeon who was in the British American Army, offered to dress it, but she told him that there were plenty of surgeons enough in Canada to dress it. And thinking they had killed Joel Stone, the soldiers departed and then went back to America. And so after that, Joel Stone built a blockhouse in Gananoque in 1913, which was made to stop the Americans from attacking. But lucky for him, the Americans never came back, but he started to get a little paranoid that the American citizens of Gananoque weren't being compliant with the crown, and so he said one day, and then in 1813 they started introducing conscription, and one of the people went into the house were families who had like more than 3 sons in the army, and so the matriarch of the family had one son named Tom, and who was still living at home, so she said that she was.
I have 3 sons in the army already. If you take away my last boy, Tom, I shall suffer. I beg you to show staying home.
And then one of the guys was there who was soldiers got bored in being in the bunkhouse because there was wooden planks and spider webs and cobwebs. Stealing one of the spiders wandered into the fireplace that made a web. So one of the soldiers was too afraid to move it one night while he was cooking supper.
Let us have supper. The Frank Dennis produced the fire ration for. Oh, a monstrous spider has selected it for his web. He seems to say, remove me if you dare.
And then one of the mosquitoes would carry malaria, which was had to be get rid of by boiling water.
Writing abominations. Junebugs hasten from all sides. If you seem to like, strike you in the eye and stun you with a blow to the forehead.
And one of the militiamen was Thomas Cochrane, who was a black slave who decided to avoid slavery by joining the army. He went and that was his uniform, and that's the uniform of the American riflemen who were again Arclay. And over here we have like we have like a picture of the Gananoque from the 1870s, and Bill Johnson, William Bill Johnson, was a pirate in the Oriental U.S. spy during the war. And this is Isabel Burnett, who she looks a little older in this picture, but when she was younger, she overheard the Patriots Army planning to possibly raid Gananoque. So she was in New York visiting with family, and they actually went to the Wangsu River and attacked the windmill. And then the British came out to stop them, which ensued the Battle of the Windmill. And that's the book. There's a piece of puff right though there. So because of her victory, was like after during the Patriot War were recorded in the Gananoque newspaper reporter in 1888. These are some battles from pictures of battles from Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And about the Battle of Beaver Dams, which had involvement from indigenous communities. One of them was led by Tecumseh, a guy named Tecumseh, whose body was buried at Beaver Dams and then moved to a reservation near here called Akwesasne, because the indigenous people wanted to bury him on their own land. And a few points to mention are the attack on Oswego and gunboats moored to Viz, June 1914. And that's one up there above the military exhibit sign is a gun from the Patriot War, or the War of 1812. And these are some cannons, some solid shots for blowing up ships, and a powder horn, and a French bayonet, and French carbine rifle, and the sword from the Battle of Bunker Hill in the American Revolution, and the toe, and the chain shot.
What's toe? Sorry?
It's a box with hay, says it's used for used as a medding between
wadding between powder. Put it in your gun, in between the powder and the shell. Yeah.
Okay.
and that's a crossbar shot link to put in a gun, and in place of bullets, and the great shot, which also is used for naval to detonate packed mass of men.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a powder horn, which is for loading powder with guns. And the crossbow shot, which was used for just hitting sails of the ships.
Yeah.
So they would run aground. So the enemy ships, American ships, would run aground and crash, making them easier to be captured. And that's a Kentucky flintlock pistol, and one from Germany, which has a more fancier design to it, and a Kentucky, that's a flintlock pistol, a rifle from Kentucky made by the same company, called Flintlock. And that's a hat where you can, from
I'm
Lieutenant,
tapping it and I'm
from-
not seeing what's happening.
from this guy, Captain Forsyth, the leader of the American captain who took the Haffenocks and brought bedsticks and old blanket from Joe Stone's house, and the one who was in charge of the soldiers who burned his storehouse and took most of his private property, who Joe Stone talks about himself in one of these things, but so from right there, he said it, told them the story about it in 1812,
Okay.
and one of them some newspaper clippings about the raid from the Pittsfield Sun about the interception of the Jew on his way to give notice of the attack, and one from Thaddeus, some information about the raid from Thaddeus Roberts' History of Freezing Glenfield, which has where I got the information that I told you about up at the blockhouse, and some of the pieces I told you about were from the American Advocate, How Long Reign, October 20, in 1812, October 15th, 1812, and that the Treaty of Grant was signed in 1814 to end the War of 1812, and but a couple days before that, the Canadians Army built a ship down at Kingston called this ship, the HMS St. Lawrence, which was said to have scared away the American ships from attacking it, from attacking the Thousand Islands, because it was really big. They built it at Kingston because they didn't want to sail it build it in Montreal, and because the Montreal Rapids were too big for ships and it might get destroyed
Right.
and be completely useless in battle. And that's a canyon.
So many gun ports. Look at
Oh,
them. Yeah.
over here was the fuse.
So that would have been one of those out of the porthole?
But they put the balls in. They put the balls in there and fire, and then they would clean it with a stick after firing it, and then relight the fuse with a torch over there in that picture, and then fire it, and then go. And then some of the captains would say fire, and then it would go pooh, and then fire again, and then they do that repeatedly, until this ship went down. And after the war, the HMS St. Lawrence was sunk, and this is a piece of driftwood, or bark from the ship, wood from the ship that was recovered.
From this ship?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
from the HMS St. Lawrence.
Wow.
And put on display here in the museum.
Wow. It's all that's left of it, eh?
Yeah, that ship is a model, and that's a mansion of Lieutenant Lee Sauper, and he's wearing an American uniform.
Mm-hmm.
That from the raid that he might go on the way of getting the American Riflemen Company for during the War of 1812. And around the back, he's holding a sword right there. And there's some cuff links and got
Epaulets.
and buttons and a sash around his waist where he can hold the sword. And that's a hat similar to the talking the hat of information over there.
Right.
That's why I call it the hat of information.
Yeah.
And the hat of information. And these are some support gunboats from the War of 1812. And the blueprint map of Gananoque from the war era years. And the blockhouse and some factories and a bunch of small houses along the river and I think a wall where they would fire the cannons. Which might be over there in that picture with the British Army assembling.
Oh yeah, right.
Getting ready to find out in the woods to see if Americans are coming. And that's the Gananoque Mill from 1839, which is in chapter 9 of the Susie Summers book, the First Summer People.
Oh yeah, okay.
About the Patriot War. There's the mill and the blockhouse and wood houses with a bunch of trees deforested area over there, which Gananoque thought that was a lumber town
Right.
in 1812 when it was first settled. In 1789 from 1812 when it was first settled, and then 1820 Gananoque became an industrial settlement that was we marked the founding of the Joe. And in that time period, that time period, the Jones Shovel Company was founded. And in 1867, the first typewriters were invented, which you press this down to type, and a piece of paper and that the space bar and the keyboard and the things in the home row, the space bar, which and here were the keys which you were the things that had the keys were that when you click the key they would go up.
Yeah.
And to type and the part of the typewriter moves along each time you type or move to a new line.
Yep.
And that's an more interior picture of the Jones Shovel factory. They had a shovel. They claimed that they said they had a shovel for every use. One of them was used by Princess Louise, sister of Edward VII, Queen, and her daughter Queen Victoria. In the 1870s, when her mom was still Queen of England, she went and planted used that shovel to plant a tree at Queen's University in 1873.
Wow.
And this is that says shovel
Yep.
right there. So it's a pretty famous shovel. And this is a photo of workers at the shovel company, at the Stokers, the Skinner factory, the Sinker factory. They was employed children back then because child labor wasn't illegal back then like it is now.
Right.
And there's some adults in the thing, so
Looks like there's a lot of children in that picture.
Yeah, there's like, some of them look like they're about 12,
Yeah,
like 13 years, 9 years old, like, other times back then. This is a river making machine from the 1864, the pre-Canadian independence, Victorian era rivet making machine, which was used to make nails. And in this factory, which were made in here, and these were the things you would pull to make the nails thing. And these are some pulleys that were used in the factory. Like the pulleys would get heavier depending on which flow. If the pulley's really heavy, the more friction there is on the pulley. And up above the boardroom is a duck. And a lighthouse was owned by the Morrison family in 1875. And over here is a more modern invention called the Wink Canoe, which was a popular vacation thing in real cool thing in the late post-war World War II baby boom era. It was made of canvas and linked together around the border, around the bottom. Why it's called the Wink Canoe? It was in this picture is the inventor of it, Edwin Wink, whose first invention, the Wink trainer, in 1938 was a flight simulator to help. Was one of the first flight simulators to help Allied pilots learn to fly in the Second World War. The Wink canoe could be taken apart and put into suitcases, and when you wanted to take it out and back out again and take it for a paddle, you could link it back together with canvas, as Edwin and his wife are doing here. After that, Edwin would go on to invent the Wink skiff, the Wink boat, and the Wink tender.
Wow.
He was,
And the paddles are part of the handle carrying. That's pretty cool.
he liked to put his name on stuff. He was like Batman, like because Batman puts his name on stuff. The Batmobile, the Batcopter, the Bat submarine, and like the list goes on and on. And these are some kerosene lamps over here, which were used for lighting in the 18th century, before they had 19th century, before they had flashlights. The kerosene was like a form of oil, which is highly flammable, so if you dropped it, you could catch fire, which was good if you wanted to murder somebody and get rid of the evidence, or if you had a dispute with your neighbor and wanted to kill them off, like so handy for mafia back in the day, or regular people would drop them by accident sometimes and catch fires. Or if you were drunk and accidentally tripped over in the night, like Mrs. Boy's
old lady Lear.
in Chicago in 1871.
Yep.
And this is a filling disaster shovel used for shoveling coal, which was carried in this little bucket right here called coal shovel to heat fireplaces in homes, houses, and steam engines, which they would needed to make the steam engines go because to keep the fires hot, so the train could go up to long distances and during the day or at night, which was also an invention in the early 1920s, the 1820s. And this is a photo, that's an old nurse's outfit from the Second World War and the Spanish flu pandemic. And the report from the Gananoque reported about the war, and the old photograph of the woman who wore that nurse's outfit. The First World War brought flu shortages in Turkey, so many people had to close their homes, but some of the people at Thousand Islands rose to the occasion to make tribute to the war effort. One of them was a couple named Hyman Kip and Catherine Kip, who had a summer home on Bleak Island, where the beach is, and they opened it as a convalescent hospital for soldiers who would come home for Canadian and American soldiers who would come home from fighting in the war. After the war, they kept the island in the Kip, and Catherine became an active member of the Gananoque community, opening the Golden Apple Restaurant and the Apple Tree Fest House. So, to honor her memory after she died, the island was changed to Floatway Island, as the island was recently changed to Floatway Island last year as a tribute to Catherine.
Nice.
And a few years before that, Gananoque became a tourist town from an industrial town to a tourist center, which in 1875 the birth of two boats were introduced to the island, like the St. Lawrence and the Grand Steamer from Kingston to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
This is a picture of it when it docking at Alexandria Bay, which is named after a guy named Dean Alexander Willing, the son of a powerful, famous guy named James Willing in Alexandria Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And these are some old thick golden era plates, and dish cups and a vase and a platter with a fancy flower embroidery on it, and souvenir glass. And this is the Cornwall Boat Store. They were the first people to introduce boat tours to the area in 1875, and they had their store was the only store in the area, and that's a rock lighthouse which was built at that's a lighthouse which was built on Rock Island near Fisher's Landing, which is at Alexandria Bay in New York State.
Yep.
On this side of the Thousand Islands, and that's the first train depot, which actually in New York, which some people arrived to the Thousand Islands by, and some came by boat on the HMS on the St. Lawrence steamboat. Here's some old plates and old-timey postcards from the 1900s, and the pin. And so a few years before the First World War, the same year that the Titanic sunk on board was a wealthy American financial baron and found builder of the Dual-Story Hotel named co-owner of the Waldorf-Story Hotel in New York City named John Astor. He was on board there with his wife Ava Waller Williams, who got married in 1981 at the Bolt's Bellevue Hotel in New York City. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A 4 months later, in July 9th, 1912, at TJ Park, the Columbia Hotel caught on fire and burned down, and it was never rebuilt again because the damage was too severe. Back in 1980, a plan for the Thousand Islands Bridge was made by an American engineer named Andrew Carnegie, who was a member of New York's High Society, and they didn't have the technology to build the bridge back then, so back in 1880, so it took 50 years to realize, and groundbreaking ceremonies for the bridge were held in 1937 at Collins Landing, New York. And a motor Franklin Delano Roosevelt came across from the bridge on a motorcade on August 13, 1938, to attend the ribbon cutting ceremony with Prime Minister at the time, William Wayne Mackenzie King. He was our Prime Minister up until during World War II, and a few times after that. But when probably during the time when America had Truman as president, so that's a picture of them kind of waving at the bridge.
Okay.
Which connects Alexandria Collins Landing, which goes one between Collins Landing and Ivy Lee on this side of the islands. And these are some people in St. Lawrence River's gifts. This is a model up here, and if you stand back over here a little bit, you can see that it doesn't have a canopy on top like the ones in this picture. It was popular introduced in 1898 up until ran out popularity in the 1940s with the invention of, but its true fall from grace became because of the outboard motor,
Right.
which was so that's why it's up here in this museum.
Right.
And the outboard motor was invented in the 1940s. And that's a picnic on Grenadier Island, on one of the islands, one of the many thousand islands around here. And these are some girls from the Goa Across and family who had which was a Burley family in the area. They're riding on donkeys, and that's a picture of a group of people on a trip in the Biju River in the second year of the Great Depression in 1930. And so, to escape dawn food, safe people came here for peaceful times on tranquil waters. For example, this is a picture of two women on a boat called the Mary Willow. And one morning in 1930, some cowboy made an early morning catch of a a Wake Sturgeon, and there's a picture of him posing for it, looking a little sad, disappointed that he caught such a small fish. And that's the first meeting of the American Canoe Association.
Oh, wow.
In 1898, or 1899 possibly. 100 years before you and Mom got married in 1898, though the first church service at Half Moon Bay was held,
Half Moon Bay, huh? Yeah.
where you could go, people continuing up until now, people go to church by boat every Sunday.
Right.
They would change, like ministers would change like titles, like one weekend it's a priest, one weekend it's a rabbi, a reverend, and one time it's a pastor,
Right.
and then what not include. There might be rabbis if Jew,
Well, they don't go to church on Sundays, do they?
not rabbis because
Yeah.
Jewish people don't go to church on Sunday, so. And here's another kind of a famous celebrity in the Thousand Islands, and like the guy who was responsible for making the Thousand Islands a tourist destination, popular tourist destination in the first place, George M. Pullman. That's his car, he's called Castle West.
Can you look at me and tell me his name again?
George M. Pullman.
Coleman, okay.
And no, Pullman,
Pullman.
he was the most famous for inventing the Sleeper Rail car,
Pullman, yeah.
and he also in 1872, he invited President Ulysses S. Grant, former Civil War general, and another general and former general in the U.S. General in the United States Army, named William Philip Sheridan, on a peak fishing trip to Thousand Islands, which secured the publicity from that fishing trip, secured the Thousand Islands as a popular tourist destination for the rich and for wealthy people and celebrities, with including John D. Morgan, J.P. Rockefeller, founder of Rockefeller Center, Cornelius Vanderbilt, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt's cousin and 26th President of the United States, and former commander of the Rough Riders Army Division in the Spanish-American War, Theodore Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew Carnegie, the engineer who built the Thousand Islands Bridge in 1837. And then one of them was his apprentice, and Dean Peacock built Peacock Alley and the Waldorf Hotel in New York City, which was an addition built by George, built in 1894 by this guy George Bolt, who would go on to built Bolt Castle in 1899 as a burgeoning Bolt Castle in 1899 as present for his wife on Valentine's Day, but his wife Louise died on June. They were married him and his wife Louise were married from 1877 up until her death on January 7, 1904. They were married for some believed she died of heart failure, but she was in delicate health before that. In 1893, they purchased the Bellevue Hotel in Philadelphia, and since he owned both of those with the Waldorf Hotel and the Bellevue Hotel in Philadelphia, they were a very wealthy family. George Bull owned the Bellevue Story Hotel and Swiss Chalet restaurant up until his death in the Bellevue Hotel up until his death in December 15, 1916. Near the third year of the World War I, the castle remained at the mercy of the elements and vandals, even when his children George Jr. and Louise Cloverbolt sold the property to Edward John Noble, inventor of White Savers candy. Mr. Edward John Noble left there at the mercy of the elements, and he tried, despite his desperate attempt to open it to the public, it still ended up getting vandalized, and the wall started blowing away because of the rain. So, and it remained like that until it was bought by the Thousand Bridge Authority for $1.
For $1, eh?
In 1877, the Bridge Authority planned to restore it to the way it was when construction was halted on January 7, 1904, when Louise Bolt died. But they surpassed that goal in 2011, 2013, the ballroom at Bolt Castle was restored. In 2009,
Really
his
pretty, eh?
bedroom and his daughter, George Bolt's daughter, Louise Cloverbolt, bedroom was restored. In 2008, his bedroom was restored in 2011, the grand ballroom was restored.
Mm-hmm.
So then the castle has been popular with the tourists of the Thousand Islands. Every tour boat that comes into the area and will stop at the castle. And here's the Gananoque Inn, which was built maybe around 1916, 1917, and it's still across the wall, and it sits across the water from this museum. And that's again the Frontenac Hotel on Round Island, which I think also might have burned down during the First World War.
Okay.
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
And that includes, and also this museum was used to be the site of the Thousand Islands Railway Station, which was converted to a restaurant in 1960.
Okay.
And the restaurant burned down in 1990, and in 1995 the museum was built on top of the foundation. So that's the end of the tour. If you want, you can go look at the rest of the exhibits, like the plane the river.